Welcome to Medical Student Life in Japan, a podcast created by a teacher and a group of medical students at Nara Medical University.
Our members are Yuriko, a third-year medical student, Gento, Taiga, Taika, Koichi, and Misaki, all second-year medical students, Yuka, a second-year nursing student, Suguru and Koshiro, both first medical students, and our teacher, Michael.
We are a small medical college in the Kansai region of Japan. This podcast has two great purposes.
One is to share stories about being a medical student here in Japan.
And also for our students to share fun ideas, opinions, and information about Japanese culture to people all over the world.
Thanks a
Thanks a
lot
lot for listening.
Happy New Year and welcome back to Medical Student Life in Japan. We hope this year has started out great for you. It certainly has for us. We have come to the end of our semester, and so we've finished up our class for the podcast, but we still have a couple of episodes for you. In today's episode, it's the third part of a three-part series of interviews with medical students in Taiwan. This one was really good, fun to participate in, and I hope it's really fun to listen to. A lot of great information and good conversation. As always, we thank you for listening and supporting our podcast. As usual, please like it, subscribe to it, and share it with your friends and others who you think might be interested in not only medical student life, but also things in Japan, or even listening to an English podcast. As always, we appreciate it, and thanks a lot. Enjoy the episode.
Okay, so hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, so I'm Gento.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm second year in Nara Medical University in Japan.
Yeah.
So, and I'm 21 years old, and I'm from Osaka in Japan. Do you know Osaka?
Yeah, I've been there once. Yeah. It was a beautiful city, actually.
Yeah. Could you introduce yourself?
Okay, sure. And I'm Stella, and I'm a sixth year medical student in Taiwan. Yeah. And basically, we have rotations in the hospital during the sixth year. Yeah, and so I just ended my course in cardiology last week, and I'll be starting the course of nuclear medicine in this week.
Can I ask some questions about
medical
school in Taiwan? Thank you. So, you are a 6 year student. So, do you have some class?
We don't have like lectures in the hospital, but we do take part in the clinical field. We would go on the grand round with the doctors, the visiting doctors. Yeah, and then we also write medical notes. Yeah, but we don't have like the lecture for like every classmate to stay in the same classroom like that. Yeah.
So it's very similar to the Japan system. So in Japan medical school, so 6 year students go to the hospital and do some hospital practice. Yeah. So
is Japanese medical students also have this kind of course in their like 6th year or 5th year?
Sorry.
And does Japanese students also have this kind of course in their 6th year or in their 5th year? Yeah. So how long is your medical course? I don't know how to ask. Like, how many years do you have to become a doctor?
We enter the school first year and do lecture to 6 years and 2 more years to do some student doctors, and 4 years after the student doctor and do some practice in hospital and to be a doctor?
Uh-huh. So basically, it's a lot like here in Taiwan. Yeah.
Is there some kind of the national test in Taiwan? So in Japan, we have a 4-year student and 6 year
Mhm.
6 student have the big test. So we have to take the same test in all Japan. It's called
Yeah.
CBT and the national. Yeah.
Yeah, here in Taiwan, we also
Mm.
take medical license exams on our
Mm.
4th grade and then on
Mm.
our 6th grade. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and after taking the second exam, you'll get your medical license. Yeah.
Mm. So by the way, I asked some question about the medicine. So
Yeah.
what is the difficulty in medicine, do you think?
You mean what's the situation like in Taiwan, or what I think the most difficult part is?
The most difficult part in medicine.
Oh, well, I think the most difficult part is that learning in the clinical field is actually a lot different from learning in the university. Yeah, because you have to apply all your knowledge into clinical use, and there's really actually a gap between knowing the knowledge and then actually practicing it. Yeah, that's the most difficult part. I think. Yeah. And yeah, and also the role of medical students in the clinical field is actually kind of vague, because some doctors, old doctors, I mean, they might not know what we're capable of doing, and then so when we go on the grain round with them, and then they sometimes don't know what we can do, and then we will just stay beside them and then watch what they perform. But sometimes we don't really feel that we're part of the team. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Is it the same in Japan?
yeah,
Mhm.
it's very similar situation. So so do you have some the difficulty in Taiwan?
You mean in medical
Yeah, medical.
performance? What I just said is one of the most difficult part, and others. I think ever since I got into clerkship in the 5th and 6th year, I kind of spent a lot of time on studying the clinical knowledge, and then you actually gave up a lot of your time for the things that you like, for example, your hobbies. Yeah, and actually it's really hard to strike a balance between these two, your working hours and your leisure time. It's really hard. And also because in our 6th year we can choose to go to different hospitals to start our clerkship, so we will be apart from our classmates and our friends. Yeah, and that's also the challenge. Yeah, because some of my classmates, they have difficulties choosing the hospitals they want to stay in the future, because they have to considerate their friends, their boyfriends, their family. Yeah. It's actually quite difficult. Yeah.
I see. So it's very hard to Taiwan medical student, but also the hard to the Japanese medical student also. And so I want some question. And do Taiwan medical student do some part-time job in some?
Oh, part-time job. Well, if we do get a part-time job, most of them will be during our like years in the college, like in the before the 4th year. Yeah, because after that you'll be in the clinical field, and it will be a lot more. It'll be a lot. You have more burdens. Yeah, and as for the part-time job, most of the students will take a job as a tutor, yeah, to help some doctors' children. Most of them, yeah. for their like college entrance exam. Yeah.
So how
Actually,
about
yeah.
Okay.
And I've been a tutor during my second year, but only for one semester, because after that we have anatomy courses and they are really difficult. So I have to focus on my schoolwork. But it was actually a great experience because I don't know, because in Taiwan, medical students usually come from more rich family, or at least economically I don't know, suitable. So they don't have this experience to really understand what the society works, and they just stay in the Eiffel Tower, let's say, in Iron Tower and Ivory Tower, and then they actually focus all of their time and effort on schoolwork or some hobbies, but they don't get to know how the society works. So I think taking a part-time job, even just being a tutor, can really help you, get to know some part of the society.
So how about the club activity?
The club. Actually, I've joined the photography club in our college. And I also participated in the Medical Student Association. I was the minister of an academy department, and also Yang Chenda, the one that you interviewed in your latest episode. He was also the minister of academy department back at our college, so we were like partners. And we actually held a lot of activities, for example, like movie nights. We would watch a movie together with our classmates, or like our seniors or juniors, and then after that we would discuss some issues pertaining to the movie. And there would be like snacks and drinks and wine. It's a very leisure. And also beside movie nights, we also have study groups, but the study groups are not for helping each other with the schoolwork, but for reading novels together. We would read a novel beforehand, and then find a time to discuss the topics in it. Actually, I miss those times that you could do whatever you like in the university. But ever since I got in the clerkship, the most of my time are just caught up in clinical knowledges.
Thank you. I have not been to Taiwan, but I want to go to Taiwan. So could you tell me your favorite place in Taiwan?
Oh, of course. And if you do ever come to Taiwan, I can take you on a tourism.
Thank you.
Feel free to contact me, actually. Well, I come from Tainan, and it's actually an ancient city, and there are lots of historical buildings that are very amazing. You can visit them, like the Confucius Temple, or like what else? There are lots of temples, and also some museums, and also Tainan is famous for its traditional delicates, such as, I don't know, like the meatballs or like pearl milk tea. I don't know if you've ever heard. And also there's stinky tofu. I don't know if you've ever heard of, but I don't really like stinky tofu myself, but lots of people like to eat that.
So what is your favorite food?
My favorite food? It's hard to answer because there are lots of food that I like in Thailand. Let me think about it. Maybe I think maybe the pearl milk tea. The pearl milk tea. Do you ever heard of that?
I don't hear.
It's a kind of a drink that is a drink, and then there's milk tea in it, and also the pearls is some very chewy bubbles, like I don't know how to say that. That just very chewy, small bubbles. Yeah, I don't know, but I think Japan I think Japan has pearl milk tea in the I don't know, supermarket or
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very famous in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Thank you.
can try it sometimes. but
Yeah.
after all, the pearl milk tea in Taiwan is better than the ones in Japan because they are more fresh here.
Okay. So you said you have been to Japan. How many
Yeah.
times do you been to
Oh, how
Japan?
many times? I've been to Tokyo
Tokyo.
twice. Yeah, Tokyo twice, and also
Wow.
Kyoto twice,
Kyoto.
and Osaka once. Yeah.
Mm.
And actually, I've been to Nara, right?
Nara. Yes.
Yeah, I remembered that there are lots of deers in the park.
Yeah. Nara,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and then there's a huge temple, huge temple.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, do you have your favorite Japanese place?
My favorite place, I think I think I have to say it's Kyoto.
Kyoto.
Yeah,
Why do you
because
like Kyoto?
it's more Asian and more like Tainan. You know, my mom used to say that Tainan was a lot like Kyoto back in their childhood, and they feel really familiar to the streets when they walk on the street in Kyoto.
Do you have some favorite food in favorite Japanese food?
Oh, your dessert is really, really great.
Dessert.
Amazing.
What kind of
Yeah.
dessert?
There's red beans with there's some kind of bread in the form of a fish, and then there's cream and red beans in it. I don't know what it is called, but I really like that. And actually, it's kind of famous. So lots of countries have sell this kind of dessert. I mean, in Taiwan, I see a lot of vendors selling them, but the most tasteful ones are always the ones in Japan.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm really curious that does Japanese parents prefer their kids to be doctors when they do great on their college entrance exam, or do they just let their kids decide what college they want to get in based on their interest? Because here in Taiwan, lots of parents think that doctor is a prestigious job, and compared to other career, we get paid more. So what is it like?
I am very the rare case because my parents is not the doctor, and that's why I want to be a doctor. I want I see some drama in medical drama, and I want I want to help some people. This is why the reason to be a doctor. But the many people in Japanese medical students parent is the doctor, and they want to be the doctor, so it's very similar to the Taiwan. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so is there any trend in choosing the specialties among Japanese medical students? Like some specialties is more popular. I mean, and after you graduate and then you start to choose, the specialty like I don't know, internal medicine or like general surgery, these specialties. And is there a trend that some are more popular? And why? Because here in Taiwan, there are some specialties that are more popular because they are, they don't have a tight schedule and they get paid more. Yeah.
I'm secondary student, so I don't not sure. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Okay. And so which medical TV series do you like the most? I also love TV series too.
Do you know the
Mm.
Code Blue?
I know that one.
No?
It's about emergency, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
like
there's
Code Blue.
helicopters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one, but because
Mm.
Taiwan is smaller, so we don't actually have helicopters fly in
Yeah.
across different hospitals. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh,
Taiwan have
mm,
many
mm,
mountains, so we
yeah.
how we
Mm.
carry the patient
Well,
to.
just drive them to different hospitals.
Mhm.
So actually, we have lots of hospitals in different district actually. Yeah.
Okay.
And oh, Cold Flu, I know that one. I've watched some episodes of them. It's very exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very.
and the characters are all handsome and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And well, as a medical student, what is the most difficult thing that you occurred in your college life?
There are a lot of technical terms, and we also remember the English and Japanese
Mhm.
both. So
Uh-huh.
so we have a lot of things to remember. Thing. This
Uh-huh.
is the difficultest thing, I think.
Mhm. Okay. And what's your hobby in your
My
free time? Yeah.
hobby. So I like to play table tennis.
Oh, table
Yeah.
tennis. Great. So you love exercising.
Yeah, I like
Wow.
to yeah to
Great. Yeah, and I'm curious, does Japanese medical students still you know spend a lot of time on their hobbies after they enter college, or they just have to spend a lot of time on
uh,
schoolwork? Yeah.
so it depends on the years. So
Mhm.
in first years we have a lot of free time to do some doing what we want to do, but
Uh-huh.
some fourth or year student have a lot of things to study. So
Uh-huh.
we
Yeah.
also cannot do the thing.
Oh, and in what year do you study anatomy? The
Second
third
year,
year, second year.
second
Oh
years.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why you are more busy on
Yeah.
second in the second year. Yeah, yeah, because here in Taiwan, we in our college, we have anatomy course in the third year. So, and in
Mm,
the first and second year, we are more indulged in our extracurricular activities. Yeah,
mm,
and so do you have like a course that will ask you to go into the hospital and then just go on like attend the grand round with the doctors, or like spend a day with them? Do you have course like this in your second year or first year?
I don't think so. So
Uh-huh. Mm.
if you want to go the hospital, we have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
pass some big test in
Uh,
Japan, and
uh-huh.
you can go to hospital. So,
Oh.
so
Mm.
the test is fourth grade. So
Mhm.
the fourth and fifth and
Uh-huh.
sixth grade can go to the
Uh-huh.
hospital
So,
and
so
do.
you won't see the junior students in the hospital, like in the first or second grade student. They won't be in the hospital.
No.
Oh, yeah, because here in our
Mm,
college we have this course in the first and second year. We have to like spend
mm,
one at least one day, or
mm,
I don't know, 2 or 3 days in the whole semester to just go to the hospital, and then you have to contact a doctor beforehand, of course, and then you
mm,
will go to the grand round with them, and then just see how their life is in the hospital,
mm.
for 1 or 2 days. Yeah. I think they want us to get to know the life of a doctor
Yeah, it's very
earlier.
good thing
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's a lot different. You think differently in those times compared to now, because we don't really because we didn't learn a lot of knowledge before enter in the clinical field, so we actually don't quite understand what they're doing. So it's really a lot different if you visit the hospital back in the second or first year. Yeah. And so what specialty do you want to get in in the future? Is there a direction yet?
I don't decide it now.
You haven't?
Do you have some recommendation?
Yeah, of course. I want to become an ophthalmologist in the future. Yeah, because I'm fascinated by those gadgets that they use in the clinical field. And actually ophthalmology is a combination of medicine and surgery. So I enjoy the physical aspect of it, and as well as enjoy learning to use those equipment. Yeah. It's okay. You still have a lot of you still have many years to figure out what kind of doctor you want to become. Yeah. And beside being a doctor, do you ever think of another occupation that you want to participate, like being I don't know, because some of my classmates start to become a YouTuber or like setting up a company online. Yeah. Do you have other occupation that you want to take part in? No? Doctor is the only.
The only doctor.
Wow. Wow, great. And I'm curious, is the doctors in Japan overworking? Is that an issue?
Yeah, the doctor is very busy in Japan.
Oh, really? And can you describe why they are overworking? It's because of the medical system, or
I don't know the reason, but the Japanese doctor is very busy. So why? Why? Do you know?
I remember that I read a book describing the situation of overworking in Japan back in my first year in college, but I can't quite remember the reasons because it's too many years ago. But it seems that there's a lot of work in the hospital in Japan too, and so the doctors have to work longer hours to to handle this work. But I don't quite understand why, because is there any health insurance system in Japan that would make the patients want to go to the medical center instead of the local clinic? Because here in Taiwan, we have a lot of work in the medical center because we've got this national health insurance system, and then it's very cheap for people to go to the medical center instead of the local clinic when they are ill. Yeah, so in the medical center, there's still a lot of work, but I don't know if it's the same in Japan.
The Japanese insurance system is very good, so and the cost of is very cheap, so we can go to hospital easily.
Oh, yeah, and even now in the during the outbreak of COVID-19, do people still go to the hospital very often?
Yeah.
Or still they don't avoid going to the hospital?
So I think
still. Oh, wow. Well, kind of the same
I don't know.
situation in Taiwan. Yeah. And so how does the Japanese government react to this COVID-19 outbreak? Do you as a medical student, what do you think of their measures? Do you think they do well, or they can progress in some parts? What do you think?
So the number of the COVID who suffer from is it's decreasing now. So I think the Japanese government is good.
And did you feel afraid in the beginning of this outbreak? you're not scared, because I'm scared in the first place, because we need to go to we still need to go to the hospital during this COVID-19 outbreak. So as a medical student, we don't really know how to practice medicine very well. So we're really, really afraid in the beginning. Yeah. And does your college life kind of be disrupted by this COVID-19 outbreak? Is there any change that you're forced to make during this outbreak? The lifestyle or the way the teacher give the course?
So the question is what changed in the corona? In university, before corona, we have to go to the university and to take lecture in face-to-face. But after corona, the chance to go to school is very small, and we study using the device, some internet device, and the online class. So it's very different before and after corona.
And does Japanese citizens wear facial masks every time they go on the street, or they don't like to wear facial masks? Because I know in some does Japanese citizens wear facial masks on the street, or do they kind of avoid going on the street because they don't like wearing facial masks? Because I know in the Western country, lots of people don't like wearing fashion masks. Yeah.
So it's because the Japanese people is very it's difficult, and so.
Do you have the habit of wearing facial masks before this outbreak?
How about I jump in real quick?
Okay.
I understood your question. I think Gento wasn't quite sure, but basically you're talking about the masks.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. In Japan, everybody wears a mask.
Yeah.
Everybody wears a mask. So when you, even now, when you're outside, everybody's wearing the mask. So if you take the train, everyone's wearing the mask. If you go into the convenience store, everyone's almost everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, Gento
I know because I know it's the same in Taiwan, but I know in the Western world, lots of people don't like wearing the mask.
It seems like it's a big.
I just don't know why. Yeah, I just don't know why.
I for me, since I've lived in Japan for a long time, when I it seems like you're back on, Gento.
My internet is done.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then maybe there's Gento. So she was asking about masks. See now Gento's, because he came to
he's wearing
room, now he knows he should wear the mask. So I think as you were asking, in Japan it was very common to wear a mask when you have a cold.
Yeah.
Or if you have an allergy, people wear. So when I first came to Japan, it was a little bit strange for me.
Oh, really?
Because I'm from the U.S. and in the U.S. we don't have a custom to wear a mask.
Right.
Unless you're in the hospital, maybe the doctor or the nurse. So when I first came, it was a little strange, and in fact, I was just copying my colleagues. My Japanese colleagues. So I had a cold one time and I started wearing the mask. And they were laughing at me. They're like, "Oh, Michael, look at you. You're like a Japanese person now." They thought it was so funny and strange to see me wearing the mask. So I was like, "Well, that's what you do." So I'm just following, but now obviously with the pandemic, we always wear the mask, and I mean almost everyone is wearing. So when you take a train, if you see someone without a mask, it's very strange.
Yeah, really.
Whereas I think back maybe in the States, some people are okay with wearing masks and some people don't like it, and so it's this controversy, which is it's different. Whereas Japan, I think they're very obedient about rules, and the rule, even though it's not a law, it's kind of a social rule to wear the mask. And it seems, maybe to answer your other question, about the pandemic. The cases are going down quite a bit. And I think part of that is this Japanese culture to wear the mask and
washing some hands.
Washing hands, of course, constantly washing hands and wearing the masks. So I guess the question is for you, Stella, is when will we stop wearing masks?
Yeah, that's the most important one, because every time I wear the fashion mask, I got this, acne on my face. Yeah,
it's uncomfortable and it gets hot. So it's hard to imagine when we can stop. Like when will there be a decision? But
I don't know. Anyways, I think it'll just become a costume, and then it'll
just be a costume, and then we just always wear it. Right?
Yeah, at least for like 5 years.
That's what I'm afraid of. I think that's probably the case. Yeah. Well, let me maybe we can start to finish up here. You're probably busy, as you said, you're a 6th-year student, so you probably have to move on to get ready for tomorrow. But we've really enjoyed having you on. It was really fun to chat with you. And,
thank you. I feel it was really interesting chatting with you too.
Yeah, and as you said, if we come to Taiwan, we'll definitely contact you.
Of course, definitely, please.
And if you have a chance to visit Japan, please come to visit us in Nara, and we'd be happy to also show you around Nara. So again, thank you for joining, and please stay in touch. And maybe in the future, once you become a doctor, you can come back on and
of course, tell us, that would be fantastic.
tell us what that's like. But it was really a pleasure to talk with you. Gento, any last comments?
So thank you for coming to the podcast course, and so I want to go to the Taiwan after the corona.
Great. Yeah. So and feel free to contact me, really.
So teach some about the Taiwan.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing that you guys have this podcast. It's really interesting. I've listened to some episodes of yours. It's really,
thank you.
Really interesting. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we just started it out as a new idea because of the pandemic, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
our classes were canceled, so we came up with this new idea, and because of the podcast, we were able to meet people like you.
Yeah.
So it's been really awesome, and so thanks a lot for joining, and it'll be fun once the episode is published and people around the world can hear Japanese medical students chatting with Taiwanese medical students.
Yeah, it actually inspires me to also do podcasts like this. I've always wanted to do it before, but never really had a time.
You should. I think you'd be.
I keep pushing.
Maybe you could get together with Chang, because Chang also seemed to enjoy it.
Oh, too, yeah. So. He's engaged in lots of activities.
It sounded like that. It sounded like that. Yeah.